Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. So on today's video we are going to be making this flower structure. It is very simple and easy. Let's get right into the video. So this is what we are going to be making use of. This is actually a net, a pink net, but you can make use of organza or organdy, and I'm also going to use Ankara fabric and a very strong gum stay. So for the base of our flower, we are just going to be carving out a circle. This is for our base. You do not have to do this the way I do it. You just have to form a good circle that is okay by you and cut it out. So I'm going to cut this out, and the circle should not be too big or too small because this is where our flower is going to sit on. So next up, we are going to be carving out our petals for the flower. So we are just going to be coming in this motion. I'm just going to be using my pen to carve this out, as you can see. So just take your time with this process, especially if you're not good with drawing. You should just take your time to carve this out. You should have something like this when you're done. Take your time to do this so you do not make any mistake and it comes out well. So you should have something like this when you're done. So next, I'm just going to cut this out when I'm done, and I'm going to be cutting out 10 pieces of this, 5 for the lower part and 5 for the top. So I'm just going to cut this out and transfer it to our fabric. So here I was just testing it out to see what it looks like, to see if the size was okay, if when I pleated it, and it was okay, the length and everything was fine with me. So I just went ahead to cut my remaining 9 pieces. So here I just ironed them down on the fabric and I'm cutting them out. You do not have to do this. You can just cut them out before you iron them to your fabric. So we are going to be cutting out 20 Ankara pieces, 10 for the main fabric and 10 for the lining piece. So take note of that. 20 Ankara pieces, guys. 20 Ankara pieces, 10 for the main fabric and 10 for the lining piece. So we are just going to cut them out. So this is what we have after we're done cutting. And for the circle part, we cut 2 pieces, one for the main fabric and one for the lining piece as well. So this is what everything is looking like. So now we are just going to sew them together. So we're just going to sew the sides like this and close it up, and that's what we're going to do for the rest of them. We're going to sew around, and that is that. So for the third layer of petals, we are just going to trim off the one we had initially, and we are going to compare it to the other size, the one we had initially. We are going to compare the sizes to make sure this one we are making right now is smaller than the one we had initially. So this size is okay by me, and I've just tested it to see, and it's okay by me. I just trimmed it off a little bit, and we're just going to cut this on our net. So for this one, we are going to be cutting 10 pieces, 5 for the main fabric and 5 for the lining piece. So we are going to be having 10 pieces. So after that, we're just going to go ahead to sew them the way we did the other fabric piece. So this is what we have after sewing. Now we're just going to create the flower effect by pleating it. I'm just going to pleat it in like so. So just watch again. I'm pleating it in like this just once and a little bit, and I'm going to sew on that pleat. So I'm just going to pleat and sew all our 10 pieces of rose petal. This is not a rose petal actually, guys, but our flower petals, let's just call it that. So I'm just going to pleat and sew all 10 pieces. So far, if you're learning something, please do not forget to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed already, guys. Next, we are going to go ahead to start assembling our flower. So the first thing I'm going to do is take our first 5 pieces of flower petals, and I'm going to pin them together like so. I'm just going to pin them all the way around. So guys, after pinning everything down, this is what we have. You can see the flower shape is already coming together. So we are just going to sew them together, sew everything down together, so when we remove our pin, they are going to be holding each other. So we are going to sew them together, then attach our base. So after sewing them together, I'm just taking out the pins so we can attach our base and just start putting the second layer of flower petals on. So this is our base. We're just going to put it underneath like so, and I'm just going to take this to the machine and sew it all around so everything is holding together. So now we're just going to start sewing in our remaining 5 petals, and we're just going to be sewing them along those openings we have over here. So we're just going to be sewing in our 5 remaining petals in. So after we're done adding our 2 layers of petals, we are going to be adding the last piece. So I'm going to bring this in. So what we are going to do is we are going to use our needle and thread, and we are going to just pass in this needle and thread in a back and forth motion, as you can see me doing right now. And I'm just going to add all 5 petals in. So I'm just going to be dragging them together as I go. I'm just going to go in the back and forth motion and drag it in till I have all 5 petals in. Now when I have all my petals in, I'm just going to insert my needle through the last one on the other side and drag it so that they all come together. And you can see we already have the flower shape we want. So this is what it's looking like. So I'm just going to cut the thread and attach it to our flower structure. So you can sew this in, but I just decided to use my U-gum to stick this to the flower structure, just because I might choose to change that net afterwards. I just did this for the purpose of this video. So I'm just going to glue this on. You can sew this when you're doing yours. So I'm just going to glue this on. So I'm going to use this to cover up the thread stitch we have over there. So I'm just going to stick that on to this flower structure, and that is it. We are done. You can go ahead to just bead the edges and freestyle however you want, but this is how I'm just going to leave mine. So this is how to create a flower structure. So guys, we've come to the end of this video. If you enjoyed watching this video, do not forget to give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you're not yet subscribed, and I'll see you on my next video.